Hi, I'm Titus, and this is the Sponsorship Space, a community for sponsorship professionals to get the help that they need. When I got in this industry almost 8 years ago, I was lost and clueless, and this mini course that I'm giving completely free is intended to give you as much value as possible and help answer the questions that I had when I got into space. I hope that you enjoy this 2 hours and 20 minutes of free value for you, and I hope that you join and interact in the school community and join a space of sponsorship professionals that are here to help you and grow with you. Welcome to the sponsorship space and welcome to video one of this free mini course that I'm giving away to help teach the system that allowed me to close over 7 figures of commercial sponsorship in my almost 10-year career. And this first video, I want to touch on something on how to build a repeatable sponsorship system that brands actually buy into. I'm going to give a lot of tips and tricks and nuggets that are extremely valuable to you. But ultimately, what's going to make you successful is how hard you work in the system that you have implemented to close, find new clients, pitch new clients, close them, and keep them happy with the events that they attend. So how to build a repeatable sponsorship system that brands actually buy into. I'm sure you have a great event. I'm sure to you it doesn't make sense why people aren't just signing up and giving you a ton of money to be a part of your event. But what you have to do is set up a system that brands want to buy into. You have to help them, explain to them, allow them to understand why your audience is the best audience for them to invest their marketing dollars into. So let's dive in. The goal of this video is simple: to give professionals a clear, proven, and practical framework to evaluate and improve their existing sponsorship program. If you have a program, it just has some holes in it. It needs to be improved. You have an idea. You understand your event and what it is. But what you need to do is elevate and understand where the holes in your sponsorship program that brands are seeing through so that they don't invest and spend their marketing dollars on your event. I want to help you identify high value assets and align with brand goals. You have a specific audience and an asset. You have unique features of your event. I want to help you identify those so that you can pitch brands and help them understand why your event is different and why your audience is important to their marketing goals for specific brands, not for every brand, but for the brands that I'm going to help you identify and help reach out to. And then I want to help you build data-backed offers that close deals. These large brands, these corporations, even local businesses, they're driven by data. It doesn't have to necessarily be the most complex data, but what they need is data to help them make good marketing decisions. Whether it's mom and pop and you're working directly with the owner of a local mom and pop business, or you're working with the largest brands, they each have data that's important to them. And I'm going to help you build that data so that you can close more deals and bigger deals. And I want to lay the foundation for a scalable and long-term partnerships. You're going to start small. You're going to start making thousands of dollars, and then you're going to make tens of thousands of dollars. And as you curate your sponsorship program and cultivate relationships, you're going to see the revenue increase in a short amount of time. But it takes a lot of work on your end. But the good news is it's easy work that you can easily execute if you follow the system that I put in place for you. Let's start off with simple stuff. What is sponsorship? Not all of us really understand what sponsorship is. A lot of us would use the term we're in fundraising. That's not what we're doing. The definition of sponsorship is when a business or brand provides financial or in-kind support in exchange for visibility and marketing opportunities at your event. This is much different than donation. This is a win-win. A donation is they give, you win. They give money, they knock off a philanthropy thing on their checklist, and you win with having donation dollars. That's what fundraising is. We've all gone to these galas, played in a golf tournament where we give money, but the return on the investment in terms of what we gave isn't there. But that's not the point. The point is to support a cause. That's not what commercial sponsorship is. This is a win-win. This is a marketing opportunity for a brand. You're giving them a unique marketing opportunity that nobody else can offer because your event is unique in some way. And they get to spend those marketing dollars on your event. But with that, they want a return on their investment. They want your audience to interact with their brand, to buy product, to sign up for their email list. Donations equals giving without expectations of return. Sponsorship is a business agreement that requires deliverable. You give, they give, partnership created. But here's the truth about sponsorship today. If your sponsorship program is underperforming, it's not because you lack good intent or a good cause or even a good event. It's because you're selling the wrong thing. At your core, your program isn't selling what the brands need to put their marketing dollars into action in your program. Sponsors don't buy causes. They buy access, alignment, and marketing outcomes. Once again, it's a business transaction and they want a return on that investment. And this training is a tested system to make sponsorships offer irresistible to the right brands for your event. I've gone through a lot of different processes and systems, and it's my goal to teach them to you what works. Gone through trials and errors, and I want to help you so that you don't make those same errors. And I want to guide you through the process so that I'm a partner with you as we interact inside the sponsorship space and the other sponsorship professionals that are in the sponsorship space community can also help you and guide you and improve your sponsorship program. One thing I want to point out is I want you to start speaking like a marketer. Once again, you're not a fundraiser. You are a marketing professional. And that's how these marketing departments view you. You are the marketer, the sponsorship coordinator of this event, and they want to make sure that you are the correct partner and the professional sponsorship person that they want to put their dollars behind. So ultimately, you're representing your event, their sponsorship. If they don't think that you believe in your event and you believe in your audience demographics and you believe what you're offering, they're not going to believe and invest in your program. I want to shift your mindset from asking of money to offering value. We tend to think, oh, I'm a salesperson when we're doing these sponsorship calls and trying to get these partnerships. That's not what you are. You are offering value, and you're offering value to something they can't find anywhere else. Your audience in your city at your event is unique, and it's your job to explain the value that your event brings to each brand that you hop on a phone call or you're an email interaction with. I want you to understand that sponsorship is once again a business deal where both parties benefit. Here's some of the top reasons sponsors say yes. Companies don't sponsor events just for fun or philanthropy. That occasionally happens, but what they're looking for is, once again, a return on investment. I'm going to just a quick list of top reasons sponsors invest in events. Brand awareness, very simple. Number one, they want to get their name and logo in front of a targeted audience. This is done through banners at an event in the simplest form, through social media posts, through having a footprint or activation at an event. And it's your job to show that your audience aligns with that brand's marketing goals. They also want engagement, lead generation. They want to brush shoulders. They want to interact. They want to collect emails, offer product samples, and interact with your audience, your attendees. They want sales and conversions, whether it's happening at your event, happening down the road through multiple touch points. They want to sell products directly or create future customers, right? And that's once again done through getting somebody inside of their email email funnel or having them try the product and they buy it on the spot. They want sales, they want conversions, they want lifelong customers now, and they want them in the future through um, through marketing and sponsorship at your event. And they brought brand affinity and loyalty. They want to align their brand with positive experiences. If they're a young hip brand, they want to be at all the young hip events, the cool things that are happening in their local city. If they're an older demographic, they want to be attached to that. And they want to be known in the cities, in this region's area. That if there's a brand, an event that's happening, they're going to be at it because they want to affiliate with those types of brands. And then the last one is they want community and corporate social responsibility. They want to support causes that align with their mission, which is a huge thing for a lot of brands. They're not just going to support any event just because it might be beneficial marketing. They also want that community and that corporate social responsibility that aligns with their mission and with their beliefs. Here's a sponsorship problem that no one talks about that I want to address. Most sponsorship professionals are selling packages instead of outcomes. I want to say that again. Most sponsorship professionals are selling packages. You're going to get A, B, and C X banners. You're going to get this, these shout outs, these mentions at the event. You're going to get to interact with this many attendees. They're selling those packages rather than outcomes. They focus on what they can offer, not what the brand needs. So to shift that, rather than you're getting A, you're getting B, you're getting C, you're going to be able to collect so many emails. You're going to interact with so many attendees. You're going to be able to convert and have X amount of conversations at an event. Your brand will, through the data that we provide, will be able to convert 75 clients at our event, statistics show. Most sponsorship professionals are selling packages instead of outcomes. Packages are internal tools, not sales tools. They help us organize what we offer and what we're going to deliver to these people. They're not the sales tool. The sales tool is marketing data. Using generic tiers like gold, silver, bronze, that doesn't speak to a brand's goals. What sponsors actually care about is reaching a specific audience. And hopefully your audience is that for that brand. And if not, there's no need to reach out and waste your time with that and waste their time. You want brand engagement, not just visibility. They don't want to just be seen at your event. If you have 50,000 people at your event, they don't want to just be seen. They want engagement with their brand so that your audience is getting a positive engagement. And they want content and storytelling they can be a part of. If you have a great story, a great mission that you are a part of, they want to be a part of that and be seen in that atmosphere and part of that story. And they want measurable results. Once again, ROI, things that we collected X amount of emails at this event. And for them, if they're selling homes, if your event is 5,000 people, but they get 100 hot, warm prospects on their email list, if they just sell one home to one of those individuals, it was worth the entire investment and everything they put into being at your event, from financial dollars to employee investments, to the activation investments, to the products that they gave away. All worth it if they get the sales that they need. They want those measurable results. Build a sponsorship offer brands say yes to. Here's a 3-part framework I want to introduce to you. Really simple. 1, 2, 3. Number 1, audience clarity. You've heard me say it a lot. Audience is your most important thing. It is the value that you bring and that you are selling. And this is who you reach, what makes them unique, what makes them different, how do they interact, what do they do, what are they buying. An activation plan. Number 2, what a brand will do to reach their marketing goals. So at this event, how are they going to convert this audience? They see the audience as an audience they want to market to, they want to be a part of, they want to sell to, meet all their marketing criteria. But what's their activation plan? What will the brand do to reach their marketing goals? It's your job to help that. Really simply, you see this all the time. Energy drinks at a 5K, at a fitness event, with a young community. And what do they want to do to reach their marketing goals to ultimately sell products? Free samples. You taste it, it's a good taste, you're going to buy it down the road or buy it right then in the moment. You help them understand your audience and understand their activation plan to meet that marketing goal in an outcome driven narrative. What the business objective is to that you help them achieve. So ultimately, going back to the energy thing, we're going to bring 10,000 attendees. You're going to get 2,000 samples out at the event, and you're going to get 100 lifetime customers. The math on that might not make sense to you, but if somebody's buying an energy drink once a week and they get 100 clients to convert at your event where they're buying one once a week or buying a pack a month, those marketing dollars paid off because a lifetime investment doesn't pay off in that weekend. It pays off over the lifespan of the customers that they get because the audience that you provided at your event. Quick examples. We helped that you would give at your event. An example that maybe a 5K or a business expo or a family event. The example is we helped local banks reach 1,500 first-time home buyers at our event. Great stat. Well, 1,500 people isn't too great, but then they generated 72 qualified leads from that, right? So they interact with 1,500 people. That might not sound like a lot. It might sound like a ton. Maybe your event's 50,000, 200,000 people. Maybe it is 2,000 people. But if you can get them interacting with 1,500 people, and they get 72 qualified leads, and once again they sell one home, that $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 investment was so worth it because they sold a $400,000, $600,000, $1 million home. This is what we're talking about. It's not just numbers. Oh, we have 50,000 people, so be a part of it. It's what type of people are going to be at your event. And what, in this case, you're going to have first-time home buyers, maybe young families, people are looking to buy their first home, and they get to interact with 1,500 people in your audience, and then they get 72 qualified leads. That is a win-win for a business because they're going to close one of those, and they're going to sell a high-ticket product to them over the lifespan that they're interacting with them. Your most valuable asset is your audience intelligence, understanding the audience that you have and the type of brands that will want to interact with that audience. You can't sell access to an audience you can't describe. You have to deeply understand who your audience is, who the people are that are attending your event. A 5K, a fitness expo, people are extremely fit and watch their diet, watch what they eat. A chocolate cake company probably isn't going to be successful at that. You have to understand your audience. That's a silly example, but you want to go even deeper than that. If you know that your fitness community, 75% of the people there are a keto driven diet, and that's how they meet their fitness goals, then the keto brands definitely want to be there. If they're high protein, they eat a lot of protein, a vegetarian brand probably isn't going to be important for them to be there. But a meat company, it might be very important for them to be there. And here's some audience information that's useful. Demographics, behavior, purchasing habits, preferred communication channels. How do they, if a business is not big on social media, but they have a big email list, then they don't want people that are going to social media to get all their information stuff. They want people that are interacting in their email, and vice versa. If it's a brand that doesn't have a great email list because it's reaching young people, but it's a big social media, then that is dependent on your event audience, what their income is. If they're trying to sell high ticket product, they're trying to sell Rolex, Rolex is sponsoring an event, they don't want to be at the local small event where there's low income people, young families that might not have a high income in a region that doesn't have a lot of wealth and high income attached to it. They want to be in a high income area where there's high earners, high wealth individuals that might potentially buy a Rolex and what stage of life they're in, right? They're, if your event is focused on the retirement community, that's going to attract a whole different, totally different brand because your audience is that. Meanwhile, Coachella, being young, they don't have a lot of retirement. It doesn't really make sense to sell retirement type products to the Coachella audience. You see, these are extreme examples, but that's what I'm trying to get to. Your most valuable asset is your audience intelligence. If you're a local 5K and you know that 70% of your audience drinks coffee on a daily or regular basis, it might not make sense for Starbucks to interact with it because you're a local event. Starbucks probably doesn't want just to be at your local 5K of 5,000, 10,000 attendees, but your local coffee shop really wants to be at that event because those participants are going to likely come into that coffee shop, that local place, and drink their daily cup of coffee at that location. And here's some tools to gather that data. Pre and post event surveys, really simple. Surveying people as they enter your event and as they leave, sending them an email if you collected the email list through the ticket sales. Social media insights, right? Go to your social media. It gives you a ton of insights. Who's interacting? If you have 1,000 followers, your social media channel will tell you the type of people, the type of followers that you have. Email interaction data, ticketing and registration platforms, interviews with past attendees. All these are just some examples of the many that are out there of tools to gather important audience data. A pricing strategy, what your sponsorship is actually worth. Sponsorship value equals audience quality plus the depth of the access that the brand is going to get, plus how much it's going to cost to be there through activation, plus brand objective alignment. So you meet all those. If you hit all those on a scale 1 to 10, you hit all those at a 10, you can charge a really high rate. An example of this might be if you're a fitness-focused event in a specific region of town. So maybe you're the Southwest Austin 5K, and 90% of the participants are from the Southwest Austin, Texas region, right? And there's a new local gym that meets that demographic perfectly, and they would love to have access to those 5,000 people that are going to be at the event. Your audience is a high quality audience for them. That access of depth, if you're giving them, you're going to get a chance to interact. It's not just going to be a footprint at the event that they have to come to you, but maybe you're going to be at the registration table when they come in so they can sell a product to every single person that comes to their line and registers for the 5K. And it's really cheap to build the activation. It's just an easy up and a couple employees and whatever product you're giving away. So it's cheap activation costs. And then you align their focus, their mission is your mission. And maybe it's an expensive gym that's more expensive than the lower budget ones. And you have a high earning, high income demographic. To them, that is a very valuable audience. You can't just say, oh, it's 5,000 attendees, so it's $1,000 because that math works out. No, for them, that might be worth $10,000, maybe even $20,000 worth of sponsorship dollars because they can get so much data. They can get lifetime customers, that the audience quality, the access to depth that you get, that how expensive it is to be there, to build the activation, and the brand objective alignment. That's what creates pricing, not the number of attendees necessarily. Price is based on the value to the brand, not the effort for you. I think a lot of times as sponsorship professionals, we think, oh, this is going to be really easy, so I'm only going to charge them, a low amount, or this is going to be really difficult, so I'm going to charge them a high amount. It's the value to the brand, not the effort you have to put in, or the competitive comparisons. You have to take into account what other 5Ks or what other events that are similar to yours. That's what dictates pricing. Because if there's a similar event a month later similar audience, similar demographics, and everything means the same, but you're charging 5 times more, it's not going to work out to them. They have a cheaper audience. They can get more return on their investment by going to the cheaper event. So the competitive comparison also dictates your price. And then access to high impact, hard to reach groups. If your event is focused off Fortune 500 CEOs and you somehow did an event where you got 400 of the 500 Fortune 500 companies to be at your event, that's only 400 people in the room, but those are very hard people to reach, and they're high impact people. Therefore, a brand will pay 100, if not even 100,000, or even 7 figures to be at that event, because whatever their goal is to interact with that hard to reach group, that hard to reach demographic, it's going to pay off in an astronomical way. So it's access to high impact and hard to reach groups. It's not based off numbers of audience necessarily. So let's talk about the repeatable sponsorship system and what it can do for your program. We want to, number one, target the right brands. Alignment is over budget. A lot of us think, oh, Coca-Cola has so much money. I bet they can easily be a part of our brand and they'll be a 6-figure, 5-figure sponsor, no problem. But if you're a fitness event where people aren't drinking soda, the alignment doesn't make sense. Meanwhile, a much smaller company that's selling a clean coconut water that's super healthy and runners love it, that alignment makes sense. Their gross revenue, their business size might be much smaller, but Coke, to reach that audience, isn't going to write necessarily a big check. But this smaller company that doesn't have as much of a budget, they're going to put a much larger percentage of the budget if that audience aligns with who they're selling to and their marketing goals. This is part of the repeatable sponsorship system, targeting the right brands, reaching out to the right brands, not just every brand or every brand that we think has money to spend, has a large marketing budget. It's people that have the right marketing dollars for our event and the alignment makes sense. We want to customize the offer. We want to use their language and their goals. We want to talk like a marketer. If they're an email-driven sales company, then when we get on that call and we understand that and we say, what are your KPIs, your key performance indicators? And they go, we want to collect X amount of emails and we know that we can sell 10% of the emails we collect. All right, I'm going to customize the offer to make it an email-driven event so you can collect as many emails as possible. This is marketing, not just going to sponsorship. Here's the package I have, take it or leave it. We're bringing value to the brand. Number three, we want to deliver, once again, ROI and storytelling assets, not just thank you emails. So number one, we're targeting the right brands. Step two is we're going to create a custom offer. Step three, say we get them to sign up, be a part of the event, or we have them on the edge. We're going to deliver great ROI and how this event helped them meet their goals, and then how we told a great story with our mission. And we're not just going to send out a generic, thank you for being a part of the event. No, how did we, these calls where we were planning and thinking about how this brand could be a part of the event, how did we meet those goals? How did we tell that story? How did we do a good job with our program to align with what their goals were and mission? Not just send a generic thank you email. And then we want to re-engage with data. We always want to send recap reports, insights, and ideas for next year. Hey, look, we had X amount of people at the event. Here's some photos of it. This is what the data looks like. We told you that our income the income of our average attendee was $100,000. It was actually ended up being $120,000 this year. So you got even access to a higher income earning audience. We know that was important for you, so we wanted to point that out. And here's some insights, and here's some ideas of what we can do next year. We noticed that your location was next to a lower price product, and you're a higher price product. We want to move you and shift you around, and we think that would be better for you guys to have a even more success than you had this year at next year's event or next month's event. And then we're constantly refining that system. We're tracking which assets deliver results and sell more of those. If your program is based off of banners and X amount of location, and you're finding out that nobody's looking at those banners, the visibility is low, the audience or crowd blocks the banner on the fence line, then we're going to track that and we're going to remove those, and we're going to sell more of what makes sense, not less of what makes sense. Or maybe vice versa, the banners are just, you see people from the banners interacting with them. There's a QR code on the banner and that thing got scanned a ton of times, more than you expected. Then we're going to double down on that. We're going to use that data to help sell future programs to future brands. So let's recap and review. We're going to, number one, start with the audience and brand objectives. Audience, audience, audience. Your audience is what you're selling. That is what makes your event unique. If you're running a 5K, that 5K has a different audience than the 5K in the next city over, the next state over, in the next region. That your audience is important and ultimately what you are selling. So understanding that audience. And then number two, what are these companies? What is this brand objective when it comes to your type of audience? What do they want to accomplish? And that might be different. It might be the same brand, but depending on the type of audience that is at your event and other events, that might change what their objectives are. So that's number one in recap. Number two, we want to create custom activations that drive ROI. We don't want to just think, oh, we don't allow product sampling, we don't allow this, we don't do this. If this activation will allow this brand to be more successful, that's what we want to do. Maybe we were always against at the entrance handing out pamphlets and having a brand be there activating at the entrance to our events, the gates of our event. But then we know that there's a huge ROI on that for timeshares or hotels, that they can collect emails right at the gate on an iPad. Then that's something we might have to change, and we might create a custom activation and custom pricing, because that's the ROI that makes sense for them. And we will collect and use real data to sell. What data that's attached to our audience, data that's attached to how our audience moves around our event, and then once again, how our audience acts after the event on social media, in the community, in these types of. Number four, we want to build a system, and sales is in the follow-up. It's not just one email, it's not just two emails, it's not just three. It's often in the fourth or fifth follow-up, and we want to build a system, and I'm going to help you build that system of how to follow up with an email, then follow up with a phone call, then follow up with a written letter. There's a system to that, and that's how we're going to be successful. Not just one cold email, one follow-up. We want to have a system of how we're going to follow up, and that's how we're going to be successful. Also want to touch on upcoming lessons. Next lesson is going to be how to find clients. We want interactions with the right people every single week. Ultimately, sponsorship is hard work, but it doesn't have to be hard to do, because ultimately it's a quantity game. We want to reach out to X amount of people. We're going to get a conversion rate of X amount. And I'm going to help you find those clients. And we're going to discover how to identify companies that align with your audience and your event goals. We're not just going to send out 100 emails to 100 brands and only one of them aligns with our goals. We're going to figure out our audience. We're going to figure out which brands align with that audience. And we're going to reach out to those 100, and we're going to get a 20% conversion rate on that. And that's how we're going to be successful. That's in video 2 of this free mini course, where I'm trying to give you as much value as possible. And then the third video is going to be how to reach out to these prospects. Not only are we going to find the right brands that make sense to be a part of, and how do we reach out to them so that we don't burn the bridge, we don't mess it up, we find the right person, we find the right department, so we have success in the reach out. That's also going to impact our conversion rate. How to write emails, DMs, and follow-ups that get responses. So important. You're going to build this beautiful program, this beautiful system, but then we need to reach out appropriately. We need to reach out in the right way to be successful. Also, I want to touch on how to manage clients during the event. This is a massive topic that so many people struggle with. They get somebody to give money that want access to our crowd, but then we don't cultivate and take care of that relationship and that partnership during the event. How are we delivering value on site and keeping sponsors happy? This is something I think is my strong suit when it comes to sponsorship program. So I'm really excited to touch on that video. And number 4, identifying what your event has to offer. Once again, your audience, your event is unique. Even if it's like all the other 5Ks, you have something different about your audience. And I want to teach you how to assess the sponsorship assets that you already have and help you understand what makes your event valuable to sponsors, to brands. There's something unique about your event, and we can get more revenue, more sponsorship dollars because we identify what makes it unique. And then the exciting one, number 5, I want to talk about sponsorship revenue potential, how we're leaving so much money on the table. And I want to interact with you guys in the community, in the sponsorship space, and of other people, of things that we can do to create more money. Could we sell valet sponsorship at the event as people show up? Could we sell gate activation, so they're not just, the sponsor just isn't in the event, but they're at the gate collecting emails, which is probably twice as valuable to many brands and many sponsors. And I'm going to help you understand how much money you can generate through sponsorship by analyzing revenue streams, scaling opportunities, and key factors that attract sponsors. Money, money, money. It's about the money when it comes to these events. We have a mission, we have things we want to do, but the money makes things easier, increases our marketing dollars, it increases the things that we can do at this event, which ultimately increases our audience interaction and how excited they are to be at our event, and which then ultimately leads to even more sponsorship dollars. That was just the tip of the iceberg, and I know that it brought you a ton of value and little nuggets that you can implement. I'm excited to hang out with you guys in this mini course and give as much value as possible. I'm excited to be in the sponsorship space community, interacting with sponsorship professionals so we can level up our programs and understand what brands want and how we're going to deliver that through our audience. And I want to help you. And this video was how to build repeatable sponsorship system that brands actually buy into. And we're going to go into more detail in the rest of this mini course. Can't wait to dive in. Welcome to the sponsorship space, the best place for sponsorship professionals and event managers to build and improve their sponsorship programs and build a system that lasts so that their sponsorship program is repeatable year after year. This is video 2 in module 1 of this free mini course that I'm offering to bring you as much value as possible. And the title of this video is how to find the right sponsors and not just big brands. So let's dive right in and let's get started. I'm going to slide over here to the right. The goal of this video is simple: help you build a qualified sponsor-ready list of prospects. Shift your focus from chasing big logos or big brands to finding brand alignment. There's going to be riches in the niches here, not just riches in finding the wealthiest brand with the biggest marketing budget. That's where finding the right brands is where you're going to find the most success. And I want to give you a few simple tools to identify sponsors who already want your audience. And then I'm going to introduce you to this 3-tier strategy: local, regional, and national brands, and how to prioritize the outreach for each of these. I also want to leave you with a focused list that you build through implementing the things that I teach in this video. And I want to help you find 10 high potential sponsors through what you learn in this video and then immediately implement it. The biggest mistake I see in sponsorship is going after the wrong companies, or worse, waiting for sponsors to come to you. Throughout your sponsorship program and the sales period, however many months it is for your event, you're going to get leads that come your way. They either attended the event in the past and they're inquiring again, or they attended as a guest or just in your audience and This is an audience that makes sense for my brand to be a part of. So I'm going to make sure I inquire with them next year, maybe a local flyer, a marketing ad, and they go, wow, I want to sponsor this event. But a majority of the time, you're going to have to do some outreach, and you're going to have to find the brands that align with your audience and reach out to them and pitch them before they even know about your event. You're going to bring your event's awareness to these brands, and ultimately you're going to sell it in a way that they feel that they have to be at this event because it's such a match made in heaven for for your audience is such a match made in heaven for their brand. Stop chasing logos and start finding alignment. Sponsorship is not about you or your event. It's about your audience. We talked about this in depth in video 1. Your audience is your moneymaker and mostly what sponsors care about. Companies don't sponsor you because they like your flyer design, your sponsorship deck. They sponsor because your audience can help them grow their brand, make sales, or hit marketing goals. Simply said, return on investment. They're going to make an investment in some events through event sponsorship. They want it to be the best event to reach their to have the biggest return on investment and reach their marketing goals. Once you stop thinking, who will give me money, and start thinking, who want access to my audience, everything changes. We often go into it when we first start in the sponsorships career. We go, all right, who has money? Who's going to give me money? That's a wrong way to think about it. I can see why you would think that way. But the right way is who wants access to my audience? That paradigm shift will completely change the way that you do sponsorship and who you reach out to. Big brand names don't guarantee results. The right sponsors need your audience, not just visibility. This goes back to video 1. It's a win-win. They need to be at your event. They will miss out if their competition is at your event and they are not, because your event is going to bring a massive return on investment because your audience is the right pairing. And that's not going to be every brand. That's going to be specific brands that pair well with your audience. Focus on shared goals, not brand prestige. We want the big brands to sponsor. We want their big checks. We want the dollar signs that come with the big brands. But we want shared goals, not just the prestige of the brand. Now, big brands will help your event succeed. And if people see that big brands are going to be at it, other sponsors will probably more likely climb on board. More people might attend. It could help your marketing. We should absolutely go after the sponsorship whales and try to close those deals. But in my opinion, that's not where the money is going to be made with the majority of events. There are exceptions, obviously, but most of the time, we want to focus on brand and events, shared goals, not the prestige. Great partnerships start with a perfect audience match. Here's some examples that I can give for each event. A local 5K marathon 10K. That want to reach out to local gyms, local chiropractors, vitamin shops, athletic clothing stores. This is what a local 5K might want to put their focus on. Or if you're organizing a family festival, pediatric dentists, realtors, children clothing brands, or insurance agents. These are more family-focused, family-oriented businesses that are more likely to align with your audience. If you're running a wellness retreat, you might want to focus on health food stores, yoga studios, local spas, or nutrition coaches. You'd be surprised. A nutrition coach might be one-person business, don't think they're doing a lot of money or a lot of revenue. You find them online, you pitch them a $2,000 sponsorship, but that $2,000 sponsorship could lead to 10 clients that pay $2,000 one-time fee. Those are $20,000. They invested $2,000 in your event. They can profit at $18,000. So it's not always about the finances of the business or what they gross every year. So in this scenario, as a nutrition coach at a wellness retreat of a couple thousand people, this could be a home run for them. And you have to sell that audience and sell that vision to them so that they can understand that. Or a professional conference, you're going to want to focus more on software platforms, HR firms, banks, co-working spaces, business to business services, B2B. You can see the difference. The local 5K has a totally different um, pair match compared to the professional conference or the wellness retreat. Different financial means, different audience, what they're into. It'd be really weird to show up to a 5K and a software company is trying to close. I mean, it could happen if the audience makes sense, but it just feels out of place and it's not likely. So we want to stop chasing the logos and start finding audience alignment and brand alignment. Audience fit over brand fame. Example, a local credit union might drive 10x better return on investment than a global soda company. National brands often ignore niche or local events unless deeply aligned. But we want to go after the Coca-Colas. We want to go after these big brands. But unless they're deeply aligned, it really doesn't make sense for them. And you really shouldn't spend a lot of time pitching them. Unless they're like local. If Coca-Cola is in your area and it's a local event, they're deeply aligned to you. That's a different story. Relevance leads to higher conversions, more activation, and longer partnerships. Relevance leads to higher conversions, more activation, and longer partnerships. If the pair doesn't really make sense, somehow you pull them in or you pull the right strings and you get them there, they're probably not going to have high conversions. They're probably not going to have the best activation, and the partnership probably isn't going to last long. We want long, sustainable partnerships, so we want that initial pairing to be a good match. Your best sponsors are those trying to reach the exact people you already attract. Your event has an audience. I've said this over and over. We want to attract businesses that are attracted to your audience. That's where this is truly a win-win, and they will pay you well to be at your event if your audience matches well. So here's a 3-tier prospecting strategy that kind of goes off of brand size that you may be reaching out of. Local, small to mid-sized businesses with a local marketing budget. Think the local dentist, not the regional or the national dentist. Think the chiropractor. Think the local insurance company. They want to reach a local audience. Doesn't make sense for them to be at Coachella, for example, because that's more of a national reach. They want to be at your local event. Prioritize face-to-face engagement and community exposure. They are the local insurance company. They are the local dentist. They want to be out in the local community getting face-to-face engagement. They want to see some of their current customers out there so that they can interact, show what they're doing, showing how they're in the community. And they're trying to get that face-to-face engagement and community exposure. Tier number 2, regional companies. These are companies with operations across your state or region. An example of these are industry specific like banks, healthcare, education, or tech. Think a healthcare that people are only going to go so far for their healthcare needs. So if they're a regional healthcare company, then they want to reach the region that you're in, which is a little bit broader, a little bit larger marketing budget likely than the smaller mid-sized businesses. But they don't want, if they're in Arizona, they don't want to reach people in Florida. They want the Arizona market, or if there's a healthcare that they do the West Coast, they want to reach those states. Think education as well. Students only typically travel so far. So if they're a university in Arizona and your event's in California, the event that you're hosting is in California, they're probably going to pull from that region. But it's probably a lot less likely if you have an event in Florida that a school in Arizona is going to want to reach your audience. Like I said, it can happen, but it's not likely. Or tech, they want to reach, they want to reach the talent that your audience, if they're trying to hire talent in the area, and they're a regional company in your state or your region, then they might want the talent that your audience has for hiring purposes. And then there's nationals, brands that are aligned with your event's audience or culture. This must be highly targeted with strong demographic fit. If you are a health company, a, a national, or if you are sorry, let me repeat that. If you are a health and wellness event and McDonald's is a national global brand, you might think there's a huge marketing budget with them. And you're absolutely right. That doesn't mean they want to be at your wellness event because that audience isn't a strong demographic fit. It's not highly targeted. They want a different audience. So when you're reaching out to national brands, this must be deeply rooted in your niche, and your audience is wearing that clothing company of the national brand, is using that product on a regular basis. This is how you're going to get these national brands. They have to be deeply aligned. And in my opinion, 50-60% of your focus should be on local, small to mid, for most companies or for most events. If you're a very large event, this is different. But for the average size local event, 60-70% of your focus should be on local, small to mid-sized businesses. And then 10 to 15 should be on regionals. Regional, maybe 20% should be on regional companies that have a little bit higher budget. And then the last 5-10% should be national brands that you're shooting out the big shot because they help your overall event. They have big pockets. But once again, those are really hard to pitch, really hard to sell because they have so much data. They know exactly what they want in event sponsorship and who they're trying to reach. Here's some example of local sponsorship categories. Realtors, mortgage brokers, local credit unions. These are all people that are locally based. Realtors typically sell in a specific city or even a specific part of town. So, and they know exactly who their audience is, what their customer looks like. Mortgage brokers, local credit unions, chiropractors, family medical clinics, wellness spas. These are all local sponsorship categories. Independent gyms, yoga studios, boutique fitness brands, local restaurants or catering companies or coffee shops. These are all going to be a win for most, for small to mid-sized events to really beef up their sponsorship through reaching out to all these specific brands. Pet stores, daycare centers, family photographers. Once again, you'd be surprised. A family photographer that charges $500, if you charge them $2,000 to get there, they close 10 clients, that was worth it. That was worth their time. That was worth their financial investment. Here's some regional sponsor examples. Regional banks, insurance agencies, or financial advisors. Healthcare providers, multi-location, dental, or urgent cares. State universities or charter schools. These are some of the examples I gave earlier. Multi-location retail stores or franchise operators. Software service tools or service companies with regional presence. They have a specific region that they're reaching. And here's some examples of national sponsor examples. Brands with strong demographic overlap. Gen Z, new moms, veterans. National brand is USAA, which is a military banking program. But if you have a lot of veterans, you have a lot of military at your event, and USAA likely wants to be a part of it. And you need to sell your audience, know that your audience is very veteran or military veteran, retiree focused, and you need to pitch that to USAA. Just one example. Companies with event-based campaigns or large community outreach goals. A lot of marathons fall in this category with like beers like Michelob Ultra. They have a huge kick right now that they are the healthy beer. So they're at a lot of marathons. They're their Super Bowl ads and all their advertising marketing is the healthy beer. So that's under Anheuser-Busch. Michelob Ultra is owned by Anheuser-Busch, and Bud Light, Budweiser is at NASCAR, but Michelob Ultra is at their health event. Consumer packaged goods, snacks, beverages, beauty, targeting your audience. Once again, might be a big brand, but if they are they might be a national brand in the snack or the beverage category, but if they're a healthy snack and you host a marathon, then that might be the audience that they're trying to reach, and you'll have a much higher chance. Subscription services, media platforms, lifestyle tech, and travel brands. If you know that your audience, a large portion of them, travel to Mexico, then a travel brand like Hyatt or some sort of resort in Mexico, or if they're trying to sell timeshares in Mexico, then that's good data to have that you can sell your audience to a national travel brand. Look for national brands with regional marketing managers or reps. They're trying, if they have a regional marketing manager, so say you're in California and they have a Southern California marketing manager, much higher chance than going all the way to the top. Smaller budget, because they're not just taking McDonald's budget, they're taking McDonald's Southern California marketing budget, but still a much higher chance to get a national brand at your event. Very important tip, to look for the regional marketing manager or sales rep or sponsorship rep. Here's some research tools you need and where to find high quality leads. Your local community. Number one, drive around your city, look at billboards, bus benches, event banners. They're already spending money on marketing. They're probably spending money on marketing in poor places. Sell your event that it's a better place, that they'll get a better return on their investment. Check who's sponsoring other local events. If you see that the Chamber of Commerce is hosting an event and this local dentist sponsors it consistently, try to get them at your event. Visit your Chamber of Commerce website to see who's interacting, who's sponsoring events. Instagram and Facebook. See which brands are sponsoring influencers or other events that are like yours. Search hashtags or similar events and see which logos pop up in your niche, obviously. Online research. Google your city and then event sponsors, or even better one, site:/.com sponsors. And then your niche, if you're in a marathon, you're in wellness, you're in female fitness, or you can also do city. You please use that. Go to that second one, site:/.com sponsors, and then your niche, your city. You're going to get a ton of data through what pops up through that Google search. I promise you it's worth it. Eventbrite, look at similar events and look at their sponsors list. Eventbrite has literally an event-based platform. Look at what other events are going on in the area. You might not know about them all. Crunchbase, great for finding fast-growing companies by industry and location. They might outgrow you, but when they're young, they're more likely to be a part of smaller events like yours. Business Directory, Yelp, LinkedIn, Better Business Bureau to find industry-specific leads, local banks, beverage company, tech startups. These are all great online research tools where you can find high-quality leads. Competitor sites and past events. If you went to an event and you're like, man, I didn't know that brand would be interested in an event like that, invite them to your event. Ask for 5 to 10 minutes to pitch them, to get a conversation with them. If they've already sponsored events, that makes them a high quality lead. And now it's just making sure that your audience is a match. Review sponsor pages and social media mentions from competitors or other events in the area. It doesn't even have to be a competitor. It could just be any event. This is how you find similar style events or similar style partnership and brands that want to be at your event. Make a target list. Use a spreadsheet or a basic CRM with these columns: business name, contact person, and this might change throughout. You might contact this person, then they toss you off to this person. Make sure the main contact person is included in the spreadsheet. What industry are they in? What's their audience fit? If they're on a 1, you've had dialogue and conversation, you think they might be a part of it, but you don't think it's a great fit, Have a category where you put audience fit on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being the best. Like, this is a match made in heaven. I think they really should be at our event, not just for my sake, but just because I believe the ROI is there for them. Location, where are they based? Put their address in there. The other contact info, what's their website? What's their phone number? Um, all the information that you need. And then notes on that business, why you're attracted to them, why you think they might be a good target for you. And then a category for last contact. What was your last conversation about? Were they really interested? They're kind of interested? What was that conversation about? Do they need more information on this? This allows you to stay organized, and this is your hit list moving forward of who you're going to target. Start with 20 businesses right now. You'd be surprised at how fast your list grows. As I've been talking, as I've been discussing, making this video, or as you've been watching this video, you've been thinking in your head brands for the regional, brands for national, brands for local that you want to reach out to. Write those down. Start making a list. Create a spreadsheet so you can track them. In my spreadsheet that I give to you for free, there's a free template for a version that I have used that you can download. It's real simple, not complicated. You can 100% adopt it. Go to the free resource section. I'll give you the spreadsheet right there. But in mine, I have it color coordinated. Green is their sponsor ready to go. Yellow is we're waiting for some paperwork or a signed agreement. Blue is they're cold, ice cold, don't think this is going anywhere. Red is they're hot. Like this is a very warm lead. I think we're gonna get progress here. I think they're gonna be a part of the event. You can color coordinate it. It's a huge organization tool. It's just a simple spreadsheet. So how do you qualify who's a good fit? Ask yourself this. These are just 4 simple questions. Do they serve my audience? Do they sell to my audience? Does my audience wear what they sell? Can they benefit from visibility at my event? Will their business, will their marketing, will their brand awareness grow or benefit from visibility at my event? This is the win-win portion. Do they already spend money on advertising or event sponsorship? If they're not spending money on event sponsorship, if you haven't seen them at an event, doesn't mean you shouldn't reach out. Have low expectations. If you've seen them at all sorts of events, then they're likely to be at yours if the audience makes sense. And the 4th question, are they active in the community or online? Are they doing stuff? There's a lot of businesses that don't want to be in the community or online. They get word of mouth, and it's just not their business model. It's not their marketing plan. But if they're active in the community or online, and it's really important for them, then they're more likely to be a sponsor of your event, small, medium, or large. An example of this, if you're hosting a women's networking brunch, not a lot of people, but you find a local skincare clinic with a strong Instagram following and community partnership, that may be a perfect match. So you just have to think your audience, who's at your event, going back to the original slide, where does this audience fit? And how does a brand win from reaching that audience? Start thinking in that frame. Let's try to get a mini win right now. Build your first 10 to 20 prospects. Your goal after this video is simple. Use what you've learned to build the first list of 10 real businesses that you want to pitch. Here's a tip. Don't overthink it. Done is better than perfect. Number 2, even if it's just their name and website, get it on paper, get it on your hit list, get it on your spreadsheet. Another thing, identify 5 dreams. I would love for them to be there. I think this is a match made in heaven. Fantastic pairing. They would elevate my event. They're at it. Find 5 sponsors like that. And then 5 easy wins. Like, this audience pairing just makes sense. They're at everything in my community. I think these are 5 easy wins. So 5 and 5, this will help balance out your pipeline. And in the upcoming lessons, we're going to go over a few other things. How to reach out to prospects. How to write emails, DMs, and follow-up that gets responses directly correlates to what you've just learned in this video. The video after that will be identifying what your event has to offer. I'm going to teach you how to assess the sponsorship assets you already have, help you understand what makes your event valuable to sponsors, and what other things you could add on to beef up your sponsorship packages. And then the next video after that will be sponsorship revenue potential. Help you understand how much money you could generate through sponsorship by analyzing revenue streams, scaling opportunities, and key factors that attract sponsors, small, medium, and large, and how to play the game of commercial sponsorship and improve your sponsorship program. So let's get to work. I truly believe that the sponsorship space is meeting a need for sponsorship professionals in their teams. There's not a lot of online education. It's a lot of trial and error. Somebody else has to teach you, but it's not freely given online. And that's what I want the sponsorship space to be. Not only my knowledge, but knowledge you get from other sponsorship professionals that are in this community. But all that knowledge you gain from the previous video, from this video, from future videos in this mini course and the full course that I really hope you invest in. But all of it's going to take hard work, and I know that you can do it, and I'm here to help you with any questions that you may have. As a reminder, get involved in the community, interact with people, get to know somebody new in the community, ask your questions. Download that free template that I gave you on the last few slides. It's in the free resource section. And then number 3, don't be afraid to reach out to me, and let's work hard. I truly believe that the sponsorship space is needed online for sponsorship professionals and marketing managers. It's the best place for you to not only get free value, free education, a free community, but to improve your sponsorship program, which will ultimately improve your event and make your life easy as a sponsorship professional or an event manager. But it's going to take hard work to implement the things that I've taught in the previous video, in this video, in the videos to come. So let's get to work. Don't be afraid to dive into the sponsorship space community. Ask other people, engage with me. I'd love to hop on a free call with you and evaluate what your sponsorship program looks like and how we can improve it. Reach out to me, and let's work hard and improve our sponsorship programs. Welcome to the sponsorship space. This is the free mini course. This is video 3 in the first module, which I'm trying to give as much value to you as possible to completely revamp your sponsorship program system so you can get more sponsors and improve your event and your event's revenue. Let's dive right in. This is video 3, how to reach out to prospects. Goal of this video is simple. Learn how to craft outreach messages that grab attention and start real conversations. Discover email and DM strategies that get replies and move sponsors toward a yes. We work way too hard. We've figured out our audience demographic, what type of brands will be attracted to our audience. Now, how do we get the attention of the right people via DM and email strategies to get them on the phone, on a discovery call, so that we can explain more about our event. Understand the timing and structure of effective follow-ups. I want to teach students how to write outreach messages that get opened, read, and replied to, so that they can start booking real sponsorship conversations. The goal of your first message is this. Most people don't hear back from sponsors because their messages lack clarity and relevance. It's not anything about your event. It's simply the way that you're reaching out. A strong outreach strategy is the difference between being ignored and getting meetings. The goal of your sponsorship funnel is to get as many meetings as possible. It's not to send the ultimate goal is to get as many paid sponsors as possible, but that only happens with getting meetings scheduled. If you get 100 meetings, you're going to close a percentage of those, probably 20 to 30 of them. But if you're expecting to close clients just over email because you have this beautiful sponsorship deck, that's very unlikely. You can send thousands and thousands of emails, and I guarantee you will close less than if you send a good cold email with an opportunity for a discovery call to explain your event. The goal isn't to pitch everything at once, it's to start a conversation. Your email is not the goal. It gets you to your goal. You are not going to close clients just by sending a perfect email with every detail. Your goal is to get them on the phone so that you can pitch them and start the conversation. If you want to land sponsors, you have to learn to speak their language from the first sentence. Example of a first message. Hey Sarah, I help organize the Downtown Wine and Food Festival, which brings over 5,000 food lovers to the city each year. I'm reaching out because your brand's focus on organic ingredients is a great fit for our health-conscious attendees. Would you be open to a quick 15-minute call next week to explore a potential fit? That simple. First message, introduce yourself. What do you do? Quickly, what is your event? You don't have to go into all the details and explain what type of food festival it is, where it's located, all the things. Hey, this is our event. Think we'd be a great fit? Love to hop on a call to talk further. Simple example, first message. Now, how do you find the right person to contact? Because you can have a great first message, great introduction, but how do you find the right contact? We've gone over this in previous videos, but reaching out to the wrong person wastes time and effort. Look for job titles like marketing manager, brand director, or sponsorship lead on LinkedIn. And if it's a large corporation, find the Southwest region, the Northeast region, whatever region you're in, try to find that position. Visit company websites and check the about or contact page for decision makers. Use tools like hunter.io or Apollo to find verified professional emails. That's a deeper thing, but you can dive into it if you want. If needed, DM the brand and ask, who's the best person to speak with about partnerships? I would say sponsorships as well. Write subject lines in DMs that get open. Your subject line or opening sentence must be short, specific, and conversational. Mention the brand name or a campaign to personalize the message. Make it personal. Love what you're doing on social media here. Saw you at this event. Notice that you're doing this. Make it personal. Avoid sounding robotic or overly formal. Sponsors want a human connection. The ROI of your event is in your audience, and the audience is real people. Represent that audience well. Be part of that audience and let them know that we understand your brand, we know where you're coming from, and we know how we can fix your problems and reach your marketing goals through our commercial sponsorship. Examples include sponsor idea for brand at event. I have a sponsor idea for Nike at the Los Angeles Marathon. Another example, I saw your booth at Taste LA and I have got an idea for you. I noticed that you were doing this. I have another opportunity lined up. Or just as a simple one is event name / brand name. And I want to show you a quick video from Jesse Itzler on cold emails. He's one of my favorite entrepreneurs, and his big thing is he's a professional networker, which is ultimately what sponsorship professionals do. And he has a great video that I want to show you real quick on how to do cold emails.
The subject line of your email is the most important thing when you write an email. Because if I don't know you and the subject line doesn't grab me or it's directly to the point, I'm probably going to go past it. A lot of times, my biggest weapon in my email is a slash. I'll do like all day running company / Danica Trail Mix. What is that? It's curiosity. What the hell does that mean? I'd be like, what is all day running? I don't even know who these guys are. And me? What is it? And shockingly, it works almost every time for me. Just a simple my company name / their company name.
Hopefully you enjoyed that video from Jesse. I just think it was straight and to the point. He's a professional networker, a high-class business owner, and so I thought that hearing it from his voice would be beneficial to you. Let's talk about personalization that doesn't take hours. You don't need to write a custom essay for each sponsor. Personalization isn't about writing a novel, it's about relevance. Give them the information they need, quick, concise. Let them know you have an audience that would pair up well with them, let's hop on a call. I'd love to explain more. Don't need to include pricing. Don't need to include a sponsorship deck. Just get to that conversation, and your opportunities from there will rise. Your chances for success. But you got to send the emails to the right people, and they got to be quick and to the point. You can reference a campaign they recently launched, or an audience you both care about, or a mission or a nonprofit. Mention something unique about their brand that fits your event. Don't just do cookie cutter type things. Go nitty gritty. Understand what that brand is doing. If you do that initial just 5 minutes of researching the company, researching the brand, and you mention something over email that makes them unique, then mention that, and your chances of success will improve. One line of personalization shows you did your homework and builds trust. An example of this might be, I saw a new sunscreen line for runners. Would love to spotlight you at our beachside 10K. You're offering a sunscreen for runners. I saw that. We're having a beachside 5K. Let's conversate this next week. Let's hop on a call, and let's make sure that we get you at the event. We want to make something happen with your brand. I think just the match is too perfect. Just that much personalization will go a long ways. Here's an example of fast personalization. Saw you launched your new non-alcoholic beer line. Perfect fit for our health-focused summer festival. Our audience is 70% women, ages 25 to 44, which aligns with your recent skincare campaign. I noticed you partnered with LA Food Fest last year. Our event has a similar vibe and audience. These all show the personalization. Went a little bit further, know a little bit more about the brand. You're not just copy and pasting. Quick, concise, to the point. Get them on a call where you can discuss further. Follow-up strategy that works. Most replies come from the second or third message, not the first. I don't know who said it, but it says sales is in the follow-up. Let me repeat that. Sales is in the follow-up. There's a lot of times they won't reply the first time, maybe even the second time. The third follow-up will probably either get don't have time right now, not interested, or yeah, let's hop on a call, I want to hear you out. You should follow up 3 to 5 days after the initial message with a quick nudge. If no response, send another follow-up 10 to 14 days. Maybe you sent it on a Monday, they're on a vacation, and then you send a follow-up on Friday or Monday, and they're on a vacation. They'll be back the next Wednesday. So give a little bit of time, 2 weeks, 10 to 14 days later. Always restate your offer briefly and make the next step easy to say yes to. Hey, this is our audience. This is our event. Love to hop on a call if you have 15 minutes. Let's make it happen. But here's some follow-up examples. Just checking in. Want to make sure you saw this. We'd love to spotlight your brand as part of our VIP lounge. Get specific where you kind of see them in the event. Still open to a quick chat. I think this could be a great fit. Those are all quick, easy follow-ups that you can do. Go online, Google search it, ChatGPT it. Quick follow-up, to the point follow-ups for brands. All right, now I want to talk about a direct message or DM versus an email strategy. Use DMs to open the door, especially when you can't find an email. Or you can say it this way, use DMs to open the door, use email to walk through it. DM is very casual, nonchalant. Get the contact information, start the conversation, do simple touch points with the brand via DM, but business should be conducted in email. Take it over to email. Once again, use DMs to open the door, to nudge them, use email to walk through it and close the deal, get them to hop on a call. Use email for formal communication when you have a verified contact. DMs are best for casual intros. Emails work best for full pitches and attachments. You can also DM to ask for the right contact and then follow up via email. This could save you a lot of time. And this is what I love. You're on social media. You see an event happen this weekend. Oh, that event looks like or that company looks like a great match. They were tagged under this marathon, this event. Click on them, boom. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a great one. hey, running this event, running this style event in this city, think it would be a great match. Who's the best email that I could what's the best email to somebody that I could reach out to further discuss this conversation? They might reply to that. They might just send a single email, a generic one. But regardless, you got an email that you couldn't find on the website. Whoever's running that social media page has way more information than you do about who should be reached out to in the brand. And maybe they won't even send you to the top. They'll send you to local or regional or a city-based, which is your best case scenario to start the conversation for this. And that is where DM is effective. Here's an example DM strategy. Hey, I organize an event I think might be a fun fit for your brand. Mind if I shoot an email with some quick details? Would love to connect about a quick sponsor idea. What's the best email to send info to? Just as I said earlier, make the touch points, open the door with DM, walk through the door with email. What not to do in outreach. Don't make these classic mistakes when doing outreach. Don't send a long generic message that looks copy and pasted or AI generated. Don't attach your sponsorship deck in a first email. That is for the discovery call, the follow-up conversations. You will get there. You're most likely not going to close them by sending the sponsorship deck. I used to make these same mistakes until I learned through experience. I would send a long email because I want to give them as much information as possible, and then I'm going to include the deck so that they have all the pricing and stuff. That's just too long. It's tough to cut through their busy schedule. There's going to be a follow-up call regardless. In my mind, I was previously like, I want to give them as much information as possible so they can be informed on if this is the right fit. That's your job as the sales and sponsorship coordinator or rep. You will be the one that closes the deal on the call. You need to get to that call. Your event will be far more enticing when they can feel your energy, feel your excitement about the event, and truly understand your audience and have a dialogue back and forth, a conversation back and forth where they can ask their questions immediately. The goal of these emails, these DMs, is just to get on a call so that you could take this partnership farther. Don't talk only about what you want. Focus on what they get in your audience. Once again, this is not they're helping you out. You have an incredible audience that they want to and should be a part of. Make sure that you're explaining the ROI that they are going to get. This is going to be a match made in heaven, and they won't want to miss your events in the future because their business will suffer if they're not at it. And another point I want to make here, make sure there's a clear call to action. If you send an email, make sure they know what to do. We need to schedule a call, follow up with this email, whatever it may be. Make sure they know what to do with this email that they just read. Discovery call is a great one to do. Here's an example of poor outreach. An organizer could send a 1,000-word email with 5 attachments and no context. That's not the thing to do. The message was deleted without being opened. Keep it short, focused, and easy to respond to. Here's our final call to action to you. Make sure you're staying organized. If you're reaching out to even 5 sponsors, you need to be organized. When they were contacted, what was the contact information? If they responded over the phone, whatever it may be, what was that last conversation like? When is your next scheduled call? Have a calendar just for your sponsorship calls so you're not missing them. You're remembering to follow up on time. And I want you to take advantage of our free resources. We have an outreach message template for DM and email. We have a follow-up checklist, how you should follow up with the timeline for that and the type of vibe that you should be following up. And then we have a CRM tracker, a client relations management tool. It's just a Google Sheets, but it keeps you really organized. Has company name, contact name, role, the last message sent. You can even add a follow-up date and a status response. Where are they at? Are they cold? Are they warm? Are they hot? All those things. Make sure you're utilizing CRM, whether it's one you pay for, one you create on your own, or one that I have in the free resources. Make sure you're using it. Also, practice writing 3 subject lines and 3 first messages today using what you've learned. Keep messages personal, clear, and focused on value for the sponsor. Once again, you are also part of your audience. Brands, if you're pleasing to work with, if you're professional, and if you're relatable, they are going to be excited to work with you. Yeah, Titus's event is great. He's great. He takes care of me. He obviously went through the sponsorship space and knows how to handle sponsorship on a professional level. I got to be at his next event and make sure that this is a partnership for a while. If you're pleasant to work with, they'll be pleasant to work with, and it'll lead to more revenue dollars. Final encouragement. Still, if an email is never sent, the answer is always no. If you send a cold email, a cold DM, at least you have a chance to talk to them and get a response. And it might not even close this year for this year's event. It might close the following year. Regardless, you got to take a lot of shots to win in this game. Start small, stay consistent, and lead with how your event helps them. Lead with your audience. Lead with how their marketing department, their sales teams are going to benefit. Writing great outreach is a skill, and the more you practice it, the better you'll get. It'll start being natural to you. Start with clarity, keep it professional, and follow up with consistency. Here's the upcoming lessons. Identifying what your event has to offer and teach you how to assess the sponsorship assets you already have, help you understand what makes your event valuable to sponsors. That's what we're going to be talking about in the next one. This is the sponsorship space. I want to make sure that I'm giving you as much value as possible to improve your sponsorship programs, improve your event revenue, and improve your event overall. Let's get to work. Welcome to the sponsorship space, where I'm trying to give you as much value as possible to improve your sponsorship program, increase your event revenue so that you can have an overall better event. This is video 4 in the free module. And in this video, we're going to be talking about identifying what your event has to offer. This is a pivotal video because knowing what you're selling is vital, and knowing what you can add to your program so that you can sell more is going to increase your revenue. It's going to come back to the common theme of knowing your audience and knowing the value of your audience. Let's dive in. The goal of this video is simple. Sponsors don't invest in events, they invest in well-packaged opportunities. And what I'm not saying is that you're doing gold, silver, bronze, sending them a deck. We went over that in the last video. What I'm saying is once you get on a discovery call, once you chat with them, once you understand the organizations, the company's marketing goals or where they're struggling in marketing, you're giving them answers, and then you can throw them into tiers from there. And that is how you do that and you relay that is important to understand. This video will teach you how to identify, structure, and communicate your event's most valuable assets. Your most valuable asset is your audience. But when you have an audience in a place, on a property, at your event's location, what are the most valuable assets that sponsors want? And I'm going to try to give you some practical free tips on how to do that, how to identify those. You'll walk away knowing what your event can offer and how to inventory those assets and where to focus for maximum sponsorship interest. Sponsors don't invest in events, they invest in opportunities. If you want to land great sponsorship deals, you need to understand exactly what your event has to offer and how to package those assets for sponsors. Why does this matter? The more sponsorship assets your event offers, the more revenue you can generate. Simple as that. Our sponsorship programs are meant to generate revenue and to save you money through in-kind deals. That's what sponsorship programs are for. You have an audience, you have a group of people, whether it's 100, whether it's 5,000, whether it's 500,000, that audience is worth something to the right companies. Many organizers leave money on the table by overlooking digital and experiential opportunities. And I'm going to help showcase some of those to you in this video. Knowing what you have allows you to confidently approach sponsors with a clear value proposition. When you know your audience, when you know the value of the audience, when you know what opportunities are at your event, and when you can create more of those opportunities, you are a more valuable commodity to these marketing departments, to these companies. What you'll learn in this video: how to identify your event sponsorship assets in a structured, clear way. The key categories of value sponsors are looking for, and how to differentiate between on-site, digital, time, and experiential opportunities. How to think like a sponsor and match your offerings to their goals. Your audience profile is a sponsorship asset. We've talked about this through the first 3 videos, but it is so important to understand. Sponsors primarily care about who will be at your event. Your audience is important, and that's all that the company cares about, that you're prospecting, because they want to know what is their ROI when they interact with this audience. The more specific and relevant your audience is to the sponsor's customer, the more valuable your opportunity becomes. Include details like age, gender, interests, spending habits, engagement level with brands. All of these are important. The location, are they local, regional, national, international? All of these are valuable demographics about your audience that is going to help you sell and help you decide what assets to sell at your event. The first thing sponsors ask is this: who will be at your event? The better you can define your audience, the more attractive your event becomes. Here's an example. If a business conference can prove that 75% of their attendees are executives, then this is a great place for finance and software sponsors to partake in, because those are decision makers in where the company is going with their financial and software programs. Therefore, those types of companies will want to sponsor that event because they want access to that audience, those executives. Here are some of the key demographics sponsors want. Define your audience by age range and life stage, such as college students, families, or retirees, and identify their geographic location, local, regional, national, or international. Describe your attendees' lifestyle interests and what they value. Include insights about about how your audience typically engages with brands during events. This is all important information. If there's one thing that I can get across in this free module, throughout all my education that I give, throughout this sponsorship space, it's understand your audience. That is your weapon. That is your gold mine. That is your asset. You are selling an audience to a business. So understand your audience and what they do, how they interact, how they move. Your digital reach is sponsorship gold. We all know that social media and an online presence is important, but do you know how to sell it and why it's important to sell? Sponsors want visibility before the event, during the event, and after the event, not just on site. Multiple touch points throughout these customers. Think about when you're about to attend an event. You're probably going to the website, going to the social media pages before to get FAQs, frequently asked questions, start time, end time, buy tickets, whatever the case may be. At the event and before the event, on the website, on the social media, a sponsor has an opportunity to catch your eye. I many times when I've gone to a event's website, I've seen, I don't know what that company is that's sponsoring it. I look them up. That's a touch point. Number 2, on site at the event, another touch point. They can be on site, giving free merch, giving free stuff away at an activation, sponsoring a VIP zone. That's another positive touch point. And then at the end of the event, they can get an additional touch point as well. It's why event sponsorship is so valuable to many companies, because the multiple touch points, positive touch points that they can have throughout the experience. Your social media accounts, email lists, and web traffic can be major assets to your sponsorship revenue. Strong digital reach can even lead to sponsorship deals for virtual-only events. Sponsors don't just care about event attendees. They want visibility beyond the event through social media, email, and media exposure. Digital assets inventory. List your total social media followers and average engagement rates. This is real easy to find on the back end of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever your business, your events, um, um, social media channel is. You can get demographic information. Include email subscriber count and the average open rates. Real easily tracked by your email provider. And track monthly web traffic to your event website or registration pages. Also know any press coverage or features in local or industry media. This does two things. This is a sponsorship, something that they can purchase as an asset included in the sponsorship package that they select. It also shows that this event is going to be well attended. If you're getting so much traffic to your website, if you're getting pre-sale tickets, if you're getting interaction on a social media page, then this is a positive sign as well to the sponsor that there's going to be a large audience. They can see even who's interacting, what type of people are interacting with the social media accounts, so they can see the type of people that are coming. Physical branding drives recognition. On-site branding opportunities give sponsors real-world visibility. Often in the sponsorship world, as a sponsorship professional, I can make fun of throwing up banners, and the sponsorship is more than that, and it absolutely is. But on-site branding is still pivotal, and it goes beyond just throwing up banners in high traffic areas. The more prominent and well-placed the branding, the more value it holds. These physical assets often form foundation for your high-tier sponsorship package. Here's some examples of on-site assets. Banners and signage at entrances, main stages, and high-traffic areas. We've all been to the concert. The Heineken stage, the VIP lounge, the Nike starting line. All of those are high-traffic, visibility. Everybody's looking at it. And think about it today. The TV networks, the social media highlights, all the stories are going to be at that start line. That is pivotal branding that a company would love to have. Booths or brand activations where attendees can directly engage with the sponsor. A footprint at the event is so powerful for a company. Their opportunity, they've selected your event, and they see that your audience aligns with their marketing goals. Now they get the opportunity to put product in their hand, have their employees interacting with your audience. These are, once again, all positive touch points. Collect emails, collect other data, information, and sell product. They get to directly engage with the sponsor. Naming rights, lounges, stages, or contests. An example of this might be a tech conference can sell the naming rights to the networking lounge for $10, $20, $30, maybe even $50,000 if it makes sense, if it's a large enough event. Or branded merchandise like shirts, bags, lanyards, or giveaways. All of these are so valuable. Do not limit what your event does and the assets that they have available to them. Sponsors love seeing their brand displayed prominently throughout your venue. Online sponsorship is just as valuable. Sponsors increasingly value digital activation for their scalability and trackability. because every time you click on a banner on a website or whatever, scan a QR code, they can track where that came from. These opportunities are often lower cost for you to offer, but highly valuable to the sponsor. So if you're doing a live stream and you can add in the corner a logo, that's really easy for you to execute, but really valuable. If they know there's going to be 100,000 people watching the live stream and their logo is in the corner, and this portion of the conference is sponsored by X company, and 100,000 people are going to see that logo, very valuable for the company, very easy for you to execute as the event manager, sponsorship coordinator. A single email or live stream mention can provide massive visibility. You send out a weekly email leading up to the event, and this week's email is sponsored by X company, and you know that 10,000 people are going to open that email. Valuable. That can be sold. That can be monetized for you and your benefit. Really easy to execute. You were going to send an email anyways. Might as well generate income from it. Even if sponsors can't attend in person, they'll pay for digital access to your audience. I was setting up a sponsorship program one time, and I found halfway through the solicitation process and the prospecting that a lot of companies didn't want to attend in person. It was a 2-day event, had to send a lot of assets, had to fly people in. It was just tough and expensive to attend. They said, but we want branding. We believe in the audience. This makes sense from a branding perspective. So I started adding on, pitching them branding only portions to the sponsorship deck. And it generated me 25% more income. And all I had to do was throw logos on websites, on banners, on social media. And the sponsors were really happy with what they received. High impact digital sponsorship ideas include sponsor logos and email campaigns and newsletters. Offer branded posts or stories across social platforms. We always, to our higher paying sponsors, will do a thank you post, or you can pay to get on that. So you might be a smaller sponsor, but you can pay to get on with those bigger brands to look like a bigger sponsor in the thank you social media posts. Add sponsor overlays or shout outs to live streams. Feature sponsor ads on your event website or registration. A click-through link, everybody's logo, who sponsored the 2025 event. All the logos there, they're clickable. The company can track it when they give you the URL. Really beneficial. Mention sponsors in your podcast or video content. The highlight film that comes out after the event recap, can be sponsored by X company. And this is a great way. You were going to put that out anyways. You might as well sell it, put your logo and then this sponsor's logo. Great revenue for you. And that revenue could pay for a high production video photo team so that you're getting better content for future events to help you sell it in the future and market. Okay, let's talk about how time-based sponsorships create urgency. Sponsors love visibility during key moments, especially when attention is at its highest. Sponsors want visibility during peak attention. Limited moments can be high value. Timing-based assets are often overlooked but highly monetizable. If you're hosting a marathon, that starting line where most phones are going to be recording, where all the runners are in one place, they're of clear mind, they're excited for the race to begin, that starting line is going to be powerful branding. To have Nike above that starting line is a powerful thing for them to get. To say, all right, we're 10 minutes out from the race. This 10-minute race countdown is brought to you by X brand. Shout out to all the racers for coming out, and make sure you partake in X brand's activation site. That is huge stuff because all the friends and family are cheering them on at the start. The audience might be at the highest and vice versa for the finish line. This is urgency, time urgency, created sponsorship. Or a parade that they can sell their opening morning branding for $5,000 due to guaranteed exposure. The start of the parade is probably going to have the most people. or if it's the middle or the end, whatever it may be, creating urgency and being able to sell that to the brand is valuable. So make sure you're looking at your sponsorship package and say, where can we add uh, urgency or time-based urgency to our sponsorship program? Time-sensitive asset examples include sponsors and early bird ticket emails that get high open rates. Brand countdown posts leading up to the event to build momentum. 5 days to the event, brought to you by X brand. 2 days to the event, brought to you by X brand. Everything can be sponsored. Everything can be sold in the sponsorship world. Offer visibility in the event schedule or the opening ceremony, kind of like I discussed earlier with the marathon. Create sponsors tie-ins with high traffic times like check-in or closing remarks. These are just some examples that you can do. There's an endless list that can be made. Your vendor and speaker ecosystem has value. This is something a lot of people don't think about. Your other vendors are also an audience that somebody may want to reach. Sponsors may want to access your vendors, your speakers, or even volunteers, not just the attendees, your audience. This entire event is an audience. Every single part of it can be split up into different pieces as well. Your vendors, your speakers, your volunteers. These partnerships allow for industry business-to-business marketing or peer-level brand building. If there's a giant food event and there's going to be hundreds of food trucks and there's a company that sells the service that benefits the food service and specifically food trucks, you think they want to get access to all those people? Hey, I see you're at this event. There's hundreds of you. I would love to sell my software, my product to these food trucks. It'll benefit all of them. I don't want access to your audience. I want access to all the food trucks that are serving your audience. You can monetize behind the scenes or back end event experiences. So that company that wants access to these food trucks, they might set up a behind the scenes lounge for these food truck owners to say, hey, you're going to have a long day. We set up a tent with AC for you to come and take a break. And when you're there, all you have to do is try out our software and see how it benefits you and give us your email. That wasn't even seen by your audience at the event. That was sold to the vendors of your event. I hope that you're seeing how many sponsorship assets could be at your fingertips if you just look for it. Sponsors often want access to your vendors, speakers, or even volunteers. Creative touchpoints for sponsors. Offer sponsor-branded speaker intros or Q&A sessions. I don't know if you guys have been to conferences. I've been to quite a few sponsorship ones. They're all sponsored. This talk is brought to you by X brand. Be sure to go over to the networking lounge, which is sponsored by X brand, presented by whatever the case may be. All of these you can sell. Send emails to vendors or speakers with sponsor logos. Include sponsor gifts or branding in speaker or vendor swag bags. So these vendors probably paid money to be at your event, and maybe you give them a welcome guide, with a map, some information that they may need. I know I do that when I'm overseeing the event and I'm the sponsorship coordinator. You can get the things inside that bag sponsored in kind by another brand as well. So these are all ideas not to overlook. Let sponsors host private sessions or networking events, kind of similar to the food truck idea that I mentioned. Let's talk about experiential sponsorship ideas. Host sponsor-branded VIP lounge or after parties. Experiential sponsorship is going to boom in the upcoming years. The next generation wants unique experiences, and these brands want to give it to them so that they can be remembered by these audiences. So they can host sponsor-branded VIP lounge. I don't know if you've ever been in a VIP lounge, but it looks so cool. It's got lights, it's got couches. It's such a better experience. It gets social media content, photo booth, free drinks, all the things. It's the place to be, and that is what's going to get them exposure, and that's experiential. It's going to be posted online. So outside of just those people coming into the experience, it's going to get pushed out farther. Include product sampling, tasting booths, or branded swag. Add interactive installations like photo booths or game zones, and those can be sponsored as well. And they benefit your event. Your attendees are like, wow, that was so cool. Well, that was so cool because a sponsor wanted it to be cool, or you wanted it to be cool. And now maybe that was the thing they remember from your event and what is going to make them come back in future years. Let sponsors run a contest, giveaway, or a branded challenge. All of these are great ideas for experiential sponsorship ideas. I went to an Oktoberfest one time, and I don't know if you've seen, you hold out a pint of beer, and whoever can hold it the longest straight arm, they win. That's a sponsored opportunity. Such and such a beer brand is going to give away a 12-pack of beer or a gift card, or a grocery store is going to give away a gift card to whoever wins this event. This contest is brought to you by Sprouts Market. All of that is sellable, and you can create revenue, and it's a great opportunity to increase the ROI for a business that is at your event. Sponsors want to be remembered, not just seen. A beverage brand might sponsor a VIP cocktail bar just to launch their newest drink. So they're established in the industry, they have a drink, but they're launching a new drink. So this is an opportunity to do a really cool VIP lounge, and people maybe don't drink their product, or they like one flavor of product, but in this lounge they can only get the other product, which is going to bring exposure to hopefully get sales and lifelong customers. Offer big and small sponsorship options. Not every sponsor wants to spend 5 figures, and that's okay. Micro sponsorships and a la carte options open the door to smaller brands, which is just fine. I know I always have my 5 to 10 big sponsors. I call them the whales. I go get them. But really, what's filling out my sponsorship is these little guys, $5,000, $10,000, dude, and they start stacking it, adding up, $2,500, branding only. These are all great opportunities to give smaller brands an opportunity to get access to your audience, while also giving the big brands they're playing what they want out of your audience. Having both anchor big brands and micro tier increases your ability to fill your roster. That's what I just said. Not all sponsors want a huge investment. Some just want to test the waters. So the other thing, they might just be like, hey, we're going to come in small. I loved everything that you pitched us. It looks like this is going to be a great event, but we're just going to come in with a little 10 by 10 footprint and just see what the event is like. And guess what? If you get them at a 10 by 10 footprint, they're going to regret it, because you're going to put on the best event. Your audience is going to be right on par of what you sold. And then the next year, the next event, they're going to be like, can't miss it. They're going to be the first in line to sign up for your sponsorship program. Here's some examples of tiered opportunities. Anchor sponsors can fund your main stage, title branding, or VIP experiences, and micro sponsors can support individual elements like booths, banners, or smaller contests. Just think, if you got 14 booth sponsors at $500 each, only $500, 14, this is a small event, that brought you in $7,000 with almost no additional work. You just said, hey, you can set up a footprint at our event, bring your own easy up, no power included, $500. You did that with 14 people. You had a nice vendor row where they're giving out free stuff, they're interacting, selling product, doing their thing. Your attendees will love it. And you just created $7,000 of revenue just by allowing them to set up footprint. And then the next year you can add on and add on and add on. Now you can buy into this sponsorship. Now you can host a VIP lounge. Now we have valet parking. Parking is brought to you by such and such a sponsor. Start small, start with the micro, and you can grow bigger from there. All right, final call to action. Sponsors are looking for valuable exposure and meaningful ways to engage with your audience. Be creative with them. Don't limit them. Be the yes man. Help them accomplish these goals. When they get on the discovery call, and I go over this in the full course, but you're going to ask about what their marketing problems are. What is the demographic they're not meeting? What are they trying to do? And your job is to answer that and fix that problem for that. And your audience can do that if you understand it well. The more assets you identify, the more revenue opportunities you create. So let's be excellent in finding sponsorship assets that we could sell to these brands. Download our sponsorship asset inventory worksheet and start listing everything you can offer. It's just split off into a few different sections, and then I have a long list of ideas of what you could do with an explanation of what those kind of are, so that you can look at your event and say, wow, that's a great idea, want to implement that. This is what we're already doing on the branding side of things on the social media, but I also want to pull this one out and add it in there. Include branding, digital, time, interactive, vendor-based, and tiered opportunities. These are all essential. You don't have to do everything, but adding some will be beneficial to you. Use this inventory to create packages that sponsors actually want to buy. When they get on this discovery call, they're going to say, hey, I like this, this, and this, and this. Cool. Here's a custom package for you. I'm going to meet all those needs, and then I can upsell you, and here's some more that I think would be beneficial. Final words of encouragement. The more specific and creative your asset list is, the easier it becomes to pitch real value. If you truly understand your audience, like we've talked about, and you really understand what best assets and you start to pair your best asset opportunities with what matches with your event, people are going to love your sponsorship program. You're going to blow them out of the water, and it's going to be really easy to pitch. You don't need a massive event, just well-defined, valuable opportunities. Your mind will be blown when you start bringing in different assets, how valuable your event comes. Upcoming lessons. The final video of this free course, where I'm trying to give you as much sponsorship value as possible, completely free. This 5-part video is the sponsorship revenue potential. We're going to help you understand how much money you could generate through sponsorships by analyzing revenue streams, scaling opportunities, and key factors that attract sponsors. This course is going to create you income in your sponsorship program. I guarantee it. You getting in this free sponsorship space community is going to create more income and revenue for your sponsorship program. This is a sponsorship space, a free community for sponsorship professionals to improve their event through their sponsorship program. I'm trying to give as much value as possible as free mini course and in the sponsorship space community, but it's going to take a lot of work. But if you have a system that works, it makes it work a little bit easier. So let's get to work. Let's implement the things that we're learning, and let's create more sponsorship revenue. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the sponsorship space. This is the free 5-video module where I'm trying to give you as much value as possible so that you can completely remodel and improve your sponsorship program and the systems that you have implemented, so that you can grow your event and grow your event's revenue. And speaking of revenue, this video is the sponsorship revenue potential. I want to show you what is possible when it comes to sponsorship. A lot of us as sponsorship professionals, maybe we're just event managers, maybe we oversee the sponsorship in general. We're limited from what our revenue potential can be. And in this video, I want to highlight what is the potential of your sponsorship program, and showcase that we're probably leaving some money on the table, and to get you excited about redoing your sponsorship program and the systems that you have implemented so we can increase that revenue. Let's dive in. Sponsorship isn't just an add-on. There's events that make more from sponsorship revenue than they do from ticket sales, merch, or any other vendors. And I want to showcase that right now. The goal of this video is sponsorship is often the most profitable revenue stream for events. Maybe right now, ticket sales are driving your revenue from attendees, but I want to switch that. If you have an audience, I want to help you in this entire program. The overall goal is to teach you how to leverage your audience to make more sponsorship. So let's dive right in. The goal of this video is to showcase that sponsorship can be the most profitable revenue stream for your event. Maybe ticket sales are driving it right now, maybe merch, but I really believe if you have an audience that you have honed in on who wants access to that audience, what their demographic is like, and you can start leveraging that, sponsorship can become your biggest revenue getter. I was a sponsorship coordinator for a free event, and there was no revenue outside of sponsorship. I was the sole, and technically nonprofits, but I was the sole revenue getter, and that was a lot of pressure, but it was also an incredible thing because I knew that what I was doing was so important. This event did not happen unless I brought in the amount of dollars that I estimated, and luckily I always exceeded that goal. This video will show you how to estimate your revenue potential using real-world examples and strategies. You will learn how to think like a sponsor and build your event around value and scalability. I want to take the cap off of whatever you think your revenue potential is right now and talk about how much potential you have in place. I want to help you understand how much sponsorship revenue your event can realistically generate by analyzing event size, value, and factors that attract sponsors. I want to make a caveat right here. Every event is different. I've given many examples throughout this 5-video free course that are they might be outliers. There's events, if you have 500 of the Fortune 500 CEOs in a room and you're a sponsor at that event, it's probably a more valuable audience size revenue getter. It's probably more valuable than other events of 500 attendees. So not every event, not every audience is made the same. These are general tips and tricks to help you understand how much revenue your event can generate. Why this matters. Many event organizers rely on ticket sales, which caps their revenue. Some events make more money from sponsorship than from any other source, and understanding your sponsorship potential allows you to grow faster and budget smarter. Sponsorship isn't just an add-on to your event. It can be the biggest revenue driver. Some events generate more money from sponsorship than ticket sales, food, or merchandise. In this video, I want to break down exactly how much you can realistically make and what determines your sponsorship potential. What you'll learn in this video is we'll review real sponsorship revenue examples from events of all sizes. You will learn the difference between ticket sales and sponsorship as a revenue source. You will identify the key factors that attract sponsors to events like yours, and you will walk away with a framework for setting realistic revenue goals. You will also understand why in-kind contributions and return on investment thinking are essential for long-term success. All right, let's talk about some sponsorship revenue case studies to kind of give you a breakdown of what a large or a small event can look like. A small event of 1,500 attendees, like a local food festival, might generate $30,000 in ticket sales, have a sponsorship revenue of $15,000. That means their sponsorship is 33% of their total revenue. And what about a medium event? 5,000 attendees, we'll call it a regional business conference. Their ticket sales were $250,000, and their sponsorship revenue was $120,000. That means their sponsorship equaled 48% of their total revenue. You can see how much of a difference sponsorship is making in terms of the revenue. And the higher it goes, the higher percentage it is. What about a large event like a national music festival with 50,000 attendees? Ticket sales were $4 million. Sponsorship revenue is 2.5. Sponsorship equals 62% of their total revenue. You can see how this stacks and some of the potential of some of your revenue potential. Here's the key takeaway from these examples. Sponsorship revenue grows as your audience and visibility grows. Even small events can secure meaningful sponsorship if positioned properly. If you're doing the right things, if you're implementing what I've taught you in this free mini course, and if you purchase the full course, you'll understand that you can generate big sponsorship dollars for your event size. You don't need to be a massive event to bring in significant sponsor support. As your event grows, your sponsorship revenue potential scales with it. Even small events can bring in valuable sponsorships when positioned properly. Ticket sales versus sponsorships. Ticket sales provide direct income from attendees, but are limited by venue capacity and marketing spend. So if you can only reach so many people and you can only sell so many tickets because your venue only allows X amount of people, you are capped. Sponsorship isn't necessarily capped like that. If you can keep squeezing every drop out of that lemon, then you can generate even more income than what people expect from your event size. Sponsorships offer higher profit margins and can scale with your creativity and outreach. Think about it like this. You might be one event manager, one sponsorship coordinator. But to handle the sponsorship, you can do it alone or with a small group of team members or even a small group of volunteers to take care of sponsorships throughout the weekend. When it comes to the event, you need a lot of vendors, a lot of people managing it. It's not just a one person thing. So those ticket sales, they have to pay for all these other team members. Sponsorship can be handled by a much smaller team and be generating significant dollar values, maybe even the same as ticket sales. So you can see adding on significant sponsorship program to your event can really pay off when it comes to return on that investment. Sponsorships allow you to grow revenue without increasing event size or operational costs. It's kind of what I just touched on. Why sponsorships are more scalable. There are no hard limits to the number of sponsors you can secure. The most sponsor dollars go directly to your profit without adding production costs. Sponsors who see value often become long-term partners year after year, and you can even put them in multi-year agreements so that you can expect that income. So you say, hey, we're going to do a 3-year deal with you. They really love your event. You can get that's guaranteed income that you're expecting because it's contractually bound. Sponsorship potential by event size. Small events with under 1,500 attendees can realistically earn between $5,000 and $50,000 from sponsorship. And I've seen this over and over. I've done events where I've earned $30,000 of commercial sponsorship from just 1,000 attendees. It's really not that difficult when you understand who your audience is and when you have a good system in place to reach as many potential sponsorship partners as possible. Medium events with 5,000 to 20,000 attendees can target between $50,000 and $500,000. And large events with over 50,000 attendees can earn from 500,000 to over 5 million. I've done larger events than this, than 50,000 attendees, and I've easily done $500,000 in commercial sponsorship, and there you can go even higher than that. Sponsorship revenue ranges vary based on your event scale, visibility, and deliverables. And this is why the sponsorship space is so important. I want to give practical help to not just be limited by your event scale, but also improve your sponsorship revenue through visibility and their deliverables. If we can add on the right deliverables, we can understand our audience, and we can increase sponsorship visibility. These are just simple things that we can do to increase our sponsorship revenue in general. Examples of scaled success. A 5K run with 3,000 participants earned $75,000 in sponsorship. This revenue came from race bib branding, email list promotion, and water station sponsorships. So previously at the event, the race bibs just had the number on it, email list wasn't grown, wasn't taken advantage of, and the water station didn't have a sponsorship. Just by adding those with 3,000 participants can add $75,000, or a portion of that can be added through these additional sponsorship channels. Sponsorships help the event exceed its goal without increasing costs. Use your event size as a guide for your sponsorship expectations. Stackable sponsorships increase revenue. Some assets can support more than one sponsor at different levels. For an example, there could be a main stage, could have a presenting sponsor, but then so above the stage, you have X sponsor, but then below the stage, you can have multiple A, B, C, D. So that stage could generate you 10, 20, 30, $100 million worth of sponsorship depending on your event size. So main stage up top, and this can be done anywhere throughout your event. Check-in, starting line. You can have presenting down up here, and then you can have multiple supporting sponsors on the side or below. This strategy helps you generate more revenue from the space activation, from the same activation or space. If you're operating a small 5K, a walkathon, something like that in your event, you might invest in a $10,000 blow up walkthrough or rent it so that you can put sponsorship on the top and sponsorship on the side. That costs you $10,000 to get that starting blow up thing, but a starting line blow up, but it could generate you $30,000 in sponsorship because of what it did. So this is what I'm talking about, not limiting your sponsorship potential, but getting creative and adding things on. You don't have to sell each opportunity to only one sponsor. Think about your most visible assets and how you can offer tiered exposure. Once again, going to the starting line of the race. How can you sell? This one's up top. Everybody's going to see it all the way at the back. These ones are at the side. Those are also valuable locations. What makes an event attractive to sponsors? Number one, we've talked about this in all 5 of these videos. Audience fit. Your audience is your gold mine. Do your attendees align with their target market? Media exposure. Will they get visibility across digital and on-site? Engagement opportunities. Can they interact directly with your attendees? Exclusivity. Are they getting unique branding or category protection? Can they get exclusivity or be the only liquor or the beverage brand? They'll pay extra for that. Long-term growth. Is your event scalable and recurring? This is a valuable thing as well. If it's a recurring event, you're going to have more success in your sponsorship program. Examples of audience alignment. A wine tasting event may secure a $10,000 sponsorship from a local vineyard. The sponsor saw a perfect match between the event's audience and their buyer demographics. This might seem like no duh to you, but I'm trying to get practical advice. A local gym might hook up, might connect with a local 5K. The event offered exclusivity and branding opportunities the vineyard could not find elsewhere. Sponsors are selective. You need to show them why your event is worth investing in. Think like a marketer, CPM and ROI. And let me explain. Sponsors often calculate costs per 1,000 impressions, or CPM, to judge value. This is called cost per milli. That's a Latin word for cost per 1,000. So 1,000 impressions. So if you deliver 20,000 impressions for a $5,000 package, that's a $250 CPM. This is how they're doing math on their side, on a marketer side. Events that combine digital and on-site reach can improve CPM value and attract larger brands. Focus on your sponsor's return on investment, not just what you're offering. We talked about this. Think about this is a win-win. You're getting money, they're getting impressions. And what do those impressions cost? They're going to pay for those impressions somewhere. They're going to pay for them on a billboard, on a TV ad, a Super Bowl ad, wherever the impressions are coming. And each of those impressions have a CPM, a cost per 1,000. If an advertiser pays $10,000 for an ad campaign that gets 2,000 impressions, the CPM would be $5. Sponsors often think in terms of impressions and ROI. So they have a marketing budget. It is going somewhere. Trying to decide. Billboard, which has a CPM of $5. Your event has a CPM of $2. Super Bowl ad has a CPM of $300. trying to decide which impressions get the best return on investment. In-kind sponsorships save you money for your event. Not all sponsorship value comes in the form of cash. We talked about this in the first video. You can do in-kind sponsors. In-kind sponsors can provide goods or services such as media coverage, AV equipment, printing, or signage. If all your signage is getting printed by a local print shop and you're giving them a free booth, that could have been $10,000 you saved if you would have had to pay for it somewhere else, and you gave them a free booth that you valued at $5,000, but you didn't have to do anything, and you saved $10,000. Home run. These reduce your production costs and increase your profit margins. Treat in-kind partnerships with the same respect and professionalism as cash sponsors. A practical example I have from this is for our volunteers, we needed 2 pallets of water for our large event. So what we did, we went to Sam's Club, got 2 pallets of water, and they got a free footprint. There was no value exchange. There was just an agreement. We're going to give 2 pallets of water, and I think it was the ice. You're going to get a footprint at the event to sell your memberships to our attendees. Solved a huge problem for us that we didn't have to purchase the pallets of water. Some sponsors will contribute products or services instead of money. And you might have a 75% of your sponsorship comes from in-kind, but that's incredible because it's $50,000 worth of in-kind. That's $50,000 you saved from your event costs. Some sponsors will contribute products or services instead of money, but these are still extremely valuable. In-kind example, a local AV company provided $7,000 in sound and lighting equipment for free for getting a footprint at the event. In return, they received branding, shout-outs, and stage signage. Here's some in-kind examples. A local AV or sound company provided $7,000 in sound and lighting equipment for free. In return, they received branding, shout-outs, stage signage during the event. Audio brought to you by AV Company. The event saved on hard costs while still delivering strong value to the sponsor. And the attendees had a great experience because you got good AV sound system rather than cutting a corner and trying to save a few bucks and getting the lower tier one. Setting realistic revenue goals. If your event is brand new, aim to generate 20 to 30% of your budget from sponsorships. So if it's a $100,000 event, $20 to $30,000 would be incredible. And if it's a $20,000 event, $5,000 would be incredible in terms of sponsorship. If your event has a small history, target 40 to 50% in sponsorship revenue. If your event is well established, you should aim for 50% or more. Your goals should grow over time as your assets and your audience expand. So if you're so early or your sponsorship program's so early, that's okay. Just think about the long-term impact of this. Always think in the long term. I might only generate 10% this year, but next year will be 20 and 30, and that compounds and creates a better event for you in the future. Your sponsorship goals should match your event size, value, and maturity. Here's a realistic growth example. A local arts festival with a $100,000 budget started with $20,000 sponsorship goal. In year 2, the event doubled that goal and brought in $50,000 worth of sponsorship. Growth came from improved branding, stronger pitch decks, and expanded digital reach. Investing in this course will lead to a better sponsorship program. So here's some final thoughts. Sponsorship revenue is not a guessing game. It is a strategy built around audience, visibility, and value. The more you understand what your event offers and your audience, the easier it becomes to price and sell sponsorships. Delivering ROI and structuring creative packages are key to long-term sponsor relationships. So here's some of your next steps. Estimate your sponsorship revenue based on your event's current stage and size. So take that 20 to 30% if it's your first year, you're well established, take that 50% number. Begin outlining the assets you can offer to sponsors and how those assets translate into exposure and engagement. I have a free PDF on this. It's just a list of assets that you should consider at your event. This is the free sponsorship space mini course where I try to give you as much value as possible in 5 videos. I hope that this gave you a few practical tips on how to generate more income, look at your audience different, look at your assets and what you're offering to sponsors, and give you some practical help to improve your sponsorship program in general, which will improve your event. Whether you're an event manager doing this all on your own and you have a small event, or you're a sponsorship coordinator with a team and you want the team to have better systems in place and do a better job of closing more sponsorship revenue, I hope you consider purchasing the full course. You're going to get one-on-one access to me, weekly calls, 25 plus other videos with practical help. I want to help the sponsorship professionals and the sponsorship community improve their events. I want to help you on the marketing side of things. How do you capture the event so that sponsors, potential sponsors, are more likely to sign up for it? How do we structure our sponsorship decks? There's so much value in this, and I hope that this community is a huge help to you, and these 5 free videos were a help to you, and I hope that you consider purchasing the full course inside the sponsorship space. But it all takes work, and I'm here to help you along that way. Come say hi to me in the sponsorship space community. Have a good one. If you got this far, thank you so much for consuming over 2 hours of free content about the sponsorship industry. I hope that these 5 videos and over 2 hours of content really help the way that you view your audience and the way you view your sponsorship program and the assets inside of it. I want to ask that you would join our school community, the sponsorship space. It's completely free. And in there, we just want to grow together, give as much value to each other as possible. I call it a freemium community because it's a premium experience with a free price tag. And so I really encourage you, join the group, click the link in the bio, and take advantage of everything that the community has to offer. I'll see you in